The first branch of government in the nation's state capitals changed dramatically following the 2014 elections. Shifts in political power in the 2014 elections resulted in 1,325 new legislators, new leaders, and new approaches to public policy.
The turnover rate in legislatures in recent years has been in the 20% each of the last couple of elections, which is higher than it was for a number of years. That's partly relates to the volatility of our politics, I think, in recent years, but it may be a trend. And of course, it's accelerated somewhat by the fact that we have turbulence in 15 states.
The National Conference of State Legislatures was prepared for this change, working with the NCSL Foundation for State Legislatures, who provided needed resources to meet NCSL's commitment to the lawmakers and staff members of the nation's 50 states, territories, and commonwealths.
NCSL is the workhorse of state legislators.
One of the things I really enjoy about working at the state level is that the legislators really want to represent their constituents. They're there because they want to make a difference. But they come from professions just like you and I come from, and they need to learn how to be effective leaders.
The success of the Foundation for State Legislatures can be attributed to those who have supported it very heavily, because it wouldn't exist without their support.
The foundation provides significant support to NCSL's premier program for legislative leaders.
NCSL provides the forum for those leaders to speak to each other, to learn from each other, and also to take in the private sector perspective on how we can interact and help them develop in their roles.
Leadership is knowing how to work with other people, knowing how to delegate, knowing how to share responsibility, and so I think when the public sector and the private sector work together through the foundation, that can happen.
With term limits, you've got a constant turnover of leaders in many states. So it's really important for us to be able to communicate to the new leaders who might not have the years of experience.
The NCSL website, supported by the foundation, continues to set records. Through the first 5 months of 2015, nearly 6 million visits to the site were recorded, an increase of 34%. Social media outreach continues to expand, with 11,000 followers on Twitter and more than 4,000 on Facebook. The site experienced a 78% increase in the number of people accessing the site by a mobile device. NCSL is expanding its app into a full year-round product. With its Legislative Strengthening Grant, the Foundation is supporting work to help state legislatures become more effective and efficient.
The NCSL Foundation provided more than $1.5 million of support for the National Conference of State Legislatures.
It's so important now to try to remove the cynicism, try to elevate the policy discussions, and the NCSL Foundation does a fantastic job of doing that.
The Foundation continues to support the Legislative Staff Management Institute.
The Legislative Staff Management Institute provides staff with the opportunity to pick up management skills and strategic thinking skills.
Foundation support allowed NCSL to provide 20 webinars to legislators and staff on key issues.
The work that NCSL does with legislative staff is really the unheralded component of what NCSL does and provides for state legislatures across the country.
Organizations, to be strong, to be efficient, to be effective, need to invest in their major resource, which is their people. And so by doing leadership training, by doing professional development type training, you really build your staff's skill sets. And the bottom line is you get a better product. When you get a better product, the legislature is served, and when the legislature is served, the people are served.
The Women's Legislative Network will unveil a new strategic plan at its 30th anniversary celebration at the NCSL Legislative Summit in Seattle, emphasizing ways to help women become more effective legislators, provide advice on achieving leadership positions, and providing pathways for more women to serve in state legislatures. The Ethics Center hired a new director and continues to provide valuable research and resources that benefits the private and public sector.
One of the outstanding features of the foundation is the Ethics Center that we developed. That was a joint venture between the private sector and the public sector, a feeling that we needed to do something to call attention to ethical behavior and to help define what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate.
The foundation supports public-private partnerships that strengthen American democracy.
Our organization is a member of the NCSL Foundation because public-private partnerships are important to do our jobs.
So the good thing in a public-private partnership is you're able to retain the needed people that are trained and capable of performing the work and the technology.
Through the partnerships with the private sector, the foundation is not only able to provide legislative staff and legislators with honest information, but they are also able to provide industry expertise that staff may not be aware of.
The foundation supports the Task Force on Military and Veterans Affairs, which was created to examine issues affecting military-community relations and the health and well-being of veterans. The foundation also sponsored the 3rd Annual Job Summit in conjunction with an innovation showcase that allowed legislators to look into the future of commerce, manufacturing, the workforce, and smart tax incentives.
We have also used foundation grants to NCSL in a number of areas of improvement of the legislative process, creating training for committee chairs, training for members, innovative skill programs.
All these important programs are made possible by the generous support of the NCSL Foundation sponsors.
This year, the foundation raised a record $2.3 million in contributions. Revenue has grown more than 17% over the last 5 years. As new challenges arise, the foundation and its partners stand ready, looking for creative and innovative ways to meet those challenges.
There's no place that you get the kind of value you get through contributed to and working with the NCSL Foundation.
You have to put something into it to get something out of it. It's there for the taking, but it is a partnership, and we all have to step up and try to leverage all the very wonderful benefits that come from being part of that foundation.
If you are involved in state policy advocacy, if you have an interest in the state legislatures, then I cannot express enough how important it is and how essential it is that you're involved with the NCSL Foundation.